Alright, so here is our prickly pear. I'm going to go ahead and cut this guy up and get its seeds out so that we can try to plant them. Basically what I'm going to do is chop the ends off of it, then make a little slit down the one side and just peel the skin off. And I'm doing this alone. I'm holding my camera, my phone actually. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll show you guys real quick. Should be easy. Alright, there it is. So I cut the ends off. There's the two ends, and here's the skin from it. Literally just cut the ends off and made a slice down the side and dug my fingers into it and just peeled it right off. Took about 30 seconds. And here is the pear itself. I cut this corner edge off so you could see the seeds. I'm going to try to get the focus to go on that. Here. Let's see. But there are tons of seeds. I suppose being a cactus, a lot of them don't survive, so if it didn't have a lot of seeds, there wouldn't be any out here. Anyway, I am going to separate the seeds and kind of rinse them off and get them ready to be planted, and then I'll be back with you guys. Alright, there we have our seeds. There's probably kind of at least 100 of them in there, I figure. I'll count them when I put them on the thing to dry them out a little bit. But that's a lot of work. Hey, there's another one. I can't get it off the finger. They taste like watermelon. So I was like just sucking on this stuff and getting the pulp off and then spitting out the seeds in my hand, and then I tried to rinse them off a bunch. Tell you what though, if I had my way of planting these would be eat them, swallow the seeds, and go plant them later. That wouldn't work around here though, would it? So, anyway, I'm going to dry these a little bit and try to get as much of the fruit off of them as possible, and then figure out how to plant them. Well, there we have it. They are all processed through. I've dried them a little bit, cleaned them all up as best I could. There's still a little bit of red goop on them, on a few of them, but pretty clean. 155 seeds, and I ate probably a quarter of them. So there's probably upwards of 200 seeds in one of these prickly pears. Alright, so I'm cutting up 3 of these. Well, I cut up 2 of them already. You can kind of see I left a bunch of the, I don't know what you call them, the little eyes where the spines come out of. So I left a bunch of those on each of the pads. I'm going to let these sit for 3 days just to callus over on the sides here. And then this one I'm just going to try sticking it in the dirt as it is and see how that goes. So I'll be back to you guys in a few days. I've got a couple trays here with just paper towels and some water in them, and I put some of the prickly pear seeds straight onto just a watered paper towel, and I've got the other ones in some lemon juice so that they can soak, because I've read that that'll help kind of break down the shell over the seed and whatnot. And so after these have soaked for a few hours, I'm going to take and just drain off the lemon juice. I'll leave it on there. I'm not going to rinse them off or anything. And then I'm just going to toss that into the other tray so we can see if that makes any difference. I'm hopeful that some of these will sprout. I've also got some pads. Actually, I put one of the pads into a container just like this, and the other 2 pads I sliced up. I'll show you those in a second here. And yeah, so anyway, we're going to try to propagate some that way without, just going from pads rather than from seeds. The pad, you can see it's got some water droplets on it because I just kind of misted it and threw it in this plastic container, and we'll let it sit in there for a few days until it grows some roots, and then we'll transplant it into a thing of dirt, and we'll see if it can go. And then the rest of them that I had cut up, I put down here in the basement so that they can be in a cool, dark place and callus over, and so we'll see if any of these methods work out. Next up, we've got some Moringas. I'm gonna go ahead and peel these and then just put them on some paper towel with water on it, just like these other ones. That's how I got a bunch of them started last time, and then I've managed to kill off a bunch of them by, I don't know what, overwatering, underwatering, something. I don't know what made me mad. I ended up killing off a couple more recently because I was transplanting them and I broke their roots apart, and Moringas are apparently very sensitive to that because instantly they just fell over and like dead. And then I have these black locust ones, and what I'm going to do with those is actually just put them into a baggie with that's interesting, they almost match my countertop. Put them into a baggie with some wetted down paper towel and throw them in the refrigerator again. I've done that before, but I think I was using this propagation mat, and I think that it's got a little more power and it gets too hot and kills them off. Basically cooks everything instead of propagating it when I have it just setting directly on it. I mean, it worked fine when it's in a seed tray, but anyway, so I've got some lower power ones that I've used in the past, so I'm going to switch back to using those. And then last I have Desert Willow, which I guess is not a willow at all, but rather some kind of a bush, I guess? Something. Anyway, not sure how you're supposed to propagate those, so I'm just going to put them on a paper towel, wet paper towel, just like the other stuff in a container, and we'll see if it just starts. Anyway, so those are next. Alright, so I have 10 peeled Moringa seeds. This is the peeling. A couple of them were icky on the inside. They looked rotten. So, but the rest of them looked good. I've got this container with paper towel and a little bit of water in the bottom. I'm just going to dump them in, and that's it. We'll let them sit for a few days. They'll probably all start. All the Moringas I've ever done like this just immediately started sprouting within two maybe 3 days, and except for the ones that I put on that heating pad, or the propagating pad, that was too hot for them, I'm guessing, because the only ones that started off there were these black locusts that were actually laying on top of another bag, so they weren't getting as much heat, and those all started. So I'm guessing that's the reason. I'm guessing that the thing was too hot. Anyway, so I'm gonna put these on there. I'm gonna get the black locusts into its container and get them in the fridge, and then do something with those desert willows. So I have about 40 black locust seeds in a Ziploc baggie here that's gonna go into the fridge. And then I have about 40 of them here that I'm going to just try starting in a container. Just leave them at room temperature and see if they start up just on a wet paper towel. Because I've had good luck doing that, and I'm not sure. The instructions that came with the seeds said to cold stratify them, but we'll see how that goes. The other batch that I cold stratified before, I unfortunately put on that mat, and I believe I cooked them. So we'll try both ways again and see if one of them works. I decided to go ahead and put the desert willows into a container like this with a little bit of water and paper towel, just because then I can see if it germinates. And if they start going, I can kind of get an idea of what their roots look like and how their sprouts look and all that fun stuff. Maybe I'll just toss them into a tray next time, and we'll see how it goes in dirt. But I just kind of wanted to see how they sprout, so I'm doing it this way to start with. Alright, so we've got a bunch of stuff going here, and it's already been a couple days, so I will be able to show you this in the next day or so. Check back, make sure you subscribe, hit the little bell. You'll get to see how these things turn out. See you then.